Alrighty, people, it is time to talk about Dead Rising. We are back, and the series is ironically back from the dead after Dead Rising 4 put a bullet in the franchise's corpse from Capcom Vancouver, killed it, shotgun the back of his zombie-like head off. But we are here. Sometimes you can survive, sometimes lightning maybe can strike twice in the same scenario, but we're back talking about the series we love the most. I love Dead Rising a lot. I put it on a pedestal as being, you know, iconic for a lot of zombie slaughtering action that the series is known for, and doing a lot of wacky things. There was comparisons on this live stream to Dead Rising and Resident Evil, and I find Dead Rising to be like the more funnier, humorous, just dumb, balls to the wall sort of actiony adventure that you come to expect, where you're trying to beat the clock, you're trying to beat the timer and save survivors. And RE is like a little bit more serious in nature, a little bit more like fleshed out in a lot of lore aspects. But I love both franchises. I love killing zombies, and this is what we have on the showroom floor today: Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. So the first thing is first, talking about the release content of what we have coming in September, which is relatively close. That's like a little bit after my birthday on September 9th, so that's going to be a nice little present for me. It's coming out September 19th, 2024. But the thing is that I don't like this bit right here, is that it's coming on digital first before anything, and physical is coming out like way later. And this is like signifying a lot of physical media is either dying or being super delayed, and it sucks that we don't get a simultaneous release for those users who like their games to be on disc. So that kind of sucks right there, but I'm gonna be the one that is essentially like, well, I'm gonna play this game early in advance. I'm gonna try to get my hands on it early, so I might as well just buckle and get the digital release. But I do find that to be weird and kind of stupid, honestly. As we delve more into the features, we have the game is on RE Engine, which is Capcom's proprietary engine that is developed in-house, and they've been using this Reach for the Moon engine, which people just incorrectly label it as the Resident Evil engine. I don't know why. I don't know why people still do this at this time, but the Reach for the Moon engine has been utilized in a lot of their games recently. A lot of the remakes for RE, a lot of other titles like DMC 5 and Monster Hunter. It's being utilized in Monster Hunter Wilds. It's a really good and versatile engine. It's nice to see, and the graphics just look phenomenal. Let's look at these screen caps here. This is Frank and Brad Garrison, just looking crisp and good and amazing. I just love how the game just has an overall overhaul of graphical fidelity here. Let me see if I can find some more screenshots. This is one really good one of this zombie right here. The zombie looks fucking incredible. You can see like half his jaw just mangled in much better detail and fashion. Like they really paid attention to it. They also said like Dead Rising was more known for the quantity aspects. How many zombies can we fit on screen while not focusing on the quality? They said in this sort of particular remaster, we're gonna do both quality and quantity, and with the overhaul, I hope this leads to something special, baby. I hope we get Dead Rising fucking 5, where it looks in the RE engine, it's like loads of zombies on screen. Frank is back or something. We forget Dead Rising 4, we move on to a nice greener pasture and then we get on that bandwagon and we play. Like I didn't hate 4 like religiously, but I could see why it was very disappointing compared to the first 3. So there's that. Then it's more than just a remaster. Now those details seem to be on the cusp of it having more gameplay quality of life features like revamped controls, a better UI, and you could also like shoot while moving, which is relatively new. Like you just were basically the standstill baby where you had a pistol and you couldn't move for shit, but now you can move around with like pistols, Uzis, the shotguns. It gives you a little bit more versatility than normal, which I really appreciate here.
The new
so let's see. Hold on a second, let me get the other side of my headset because apparently like one of my earbuds is like dying.
Game to run at 4K 60 FPS.
4K 60, so that's again good quality of life.
We've also made quite a few quality of life improvements, like the ability to move while aiming.
Move while aiming is so great. Oh man, I hope that also leads to like just better hit pointing with like some of the zombies. You shoot them in the leg, you shoot them in the head, and of course this is going to help largely because, again, like I said, in the original you just stood in place and you aimed while getting swarmed. This is already phenomenal as is,
As well as other adjustments to make controlling Frank more intuitive.
better controls as well. That's par for the course really, but that's also like really great and superb. I want to show you guys something real quick. I know it's in my screenshots somewhere. Oh yeah, better survivor AI. This is probably the best news that you will fucking see in this remaster, because look, I'm one of the people that did Saint. I'm pretty sure if you've done Saint, or if you try to escort survivors out of the Willamette Park view and move them to like the safe room, then you will realize that sometimes their brains are full of molasses. They will attack certain zombies when you don't want them to attack. They will stray off, they will not pay attention. The survivor AI in the original Dead Rising was one of the worst experiences I think I ever dealt with, because they were dumb as a sack of bricks. In this one, they are literally telling us we've made some improvements to the NPC behavior that we hope will make surviving great, and that's wonderful. Also, they added like a stairs right near the exits where you go into the vent and you end up talking to Otis after you save survivors. And they said they added stairs to the safe house entrance in Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. No more dealing with survivor AI struggling to get into the damn safe house. What would happen is there were no stairs here in the original, like none, zero, nada. You would have to command a survivor to go to the vents and go up there and get in there. Now you don't have to do that anymore, and that saves like a lot of time, especially for people that are speed running the game, going through the game. That's gonna save seconds. This is fucking great. And like, I'm gonna be glazing this game. I think Capcom is just up there with great developers in this modern day and age. The way they restructure and the way they care, it's awesome. And I want to see more of this, honestly. So let's continue on to the video that we were watching. They have autosaves now. I hope that maybe you can turn some of the more friendly features off. I understand this is for like the casualized folks, where it's like, I don't want to be sitting here dying, I have to do a manual save, blah blah blah. I hope there is some range of keeping the game still difficult, as well as still keeping the timer, and maybe if you want to cater to folks who don't like the timer, you could do like a sandbox mode, an easier mode, and that'll be like implemented in. One of the things that they did not touch upon way too much, they talked about like autosaves and things like that, easier survivor AI, but they did not talk about hardcore difficulty or talking about if the timer is going to remain the same or be removed. They didn't answer any of those questions. I think it's going to mostly remain the same, but whether you can toggle it off or on is something that remains to be seen right now.
Thanks to popular demand, we've added an autosave feature and fine-tuned the user interface.
So I don't mind this, like a more cohesive UI where you need to get to where you need to go quickly and mark the map quickly and find things in a more accessible nature, because Willamette Parkview is huge. It's a big mall where you have to navigate like certain rooms and certain places and go certain areas. I love this change too. It's like, again, this might be one of the better versions of Dead Rising 1, sans for one little thing which we're going to talk about later. So we're going to go back to the bullet points here. Again, they're keeping the unique gameplay of the original. They talked about how animations and stuff, they could have made it a lot more realistic, and that's just not Dead Rising. That's not Dead Rising to me, making the animations like a lot more real and grounded. You gotta have your silly shit like Frank West doing a German suplex on a zombie, doing a face plant on a zombie, ripping his guts out with disemboweler. you just have to have ridiculous looking elements, so you can have like the RE engine just supplement the great graphics on top of making it look wild and crazy. And that's just the fun of Dead Rising. Putting a bucket on a zombie and smacking him with like a chainsaw, that's the best thing. It's fully voiced in 9 languages, so more countries will get to experience Dead Rising in their native tongue. They also seem to have, let me see if I can find this here. Let's see if I can go further.
The game will be fully voiced.
We know about this.
That we hope will make surviving the zombie apocalypse with all the colorful characters that much more enjoyable.
It's a couple of small clipping issues from what I'm noticing here, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So I'm glad like most of the overall core of the game is still intact. They said something about the game is now fully voiced for improved immersion from the Steam page. I'm guessing that means there are certain points in the game of Dead Rising 1, and it happens in all the other ones as well. I think it happens in 2 as well, where you're talking to survivors and it's just a loaded text, and you're trying to converse with them in order to get them to the safe room. Now that I'm thinking, this game has a feature where it's like now it's fully voiced for improved immersion, meaning that they redubbed it to have survivor AI exchange back and forth with Frank West, and now you can hear the voice actors saying that on screen in the general gameplay outside of like cutscenes and stuff. That's cool. I would prefer that as opposed to scrolling through text in order to get the guy to go with me, and it feels like a lived in, breathed in game. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? Because I'm loving most of the improvements so far. Now, Frank's voice actor, they changed his voice. It's no longer TJ Rotolo anymore. It's what I assume to be Ty Olsson, who was the voice of Frank West in Dead Rising 4. And I'm not the biggest fan of Ty Olsson. I'll say that much. I feel the pain of the Dead Rising fans when I thought that TJ Rotolo for Frank West was perfect. And they didn't talk about this either, and I had to bring this up because, it's being honest, they did not talk about the idea of a classic voice option for Frank West. But considering they're going the extra mile to have improved voice features with the new cast where you could talk to survivors and AI and all that other stuff without doing the text scroll, part of me thinks that the original voice acting is not going to be an option in this game. Again, they could prove me wrong, but considering they're going the extra mile to do all this and voice the text with the new actors, I don't think it's coming back. Although PC players, you ain't got nothing to worry about because you can just mod that bitch in, no problem. It might still sound weird with the modded text scroll and the different voice acting, but you will probably be hearing TJ Rotolo very soon due to mods, so no problem for Steam users there. Still though, it sucks. It's a situation that I wish did not happen, but apparently because TJ is union, Capcom likes to go non-union these days. It makes no sense, even though he was in like RE2 Remake, which is weird because that game is very, very recent. He was the voice of William Birkin. I'm like, oh, come on, man. It's like, what? But all right, I'll show the point in time where people sort of had some issue with his voice, and I did too when I heard this.
Mention something about research for a story. Frank West.
When he says Frank West, that's fine. They also hated his face as well. I saw people also saying, oh, Frank is ugly. Well, Frank always has been rather, off looking. He's very average Joe. He's never been the beacon of great looks. He's never been the Leon S. Kennedys of the world, okay? So Frank still looking, as you say, quote unquote, ugly. That's something that's not a shock to me whatsoever, nor is it a surprise or detriment to the game whatsoever.
Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
This line right here just, no, dog, no. Oh no, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about the quality of that. I'm not really feeling that aspect. But as he jumps off the copter and people have the doubt set in that this new actor would not do well, it's one line that he said here where he sounds decent. where he's walking down the stairs and he talks about, oh, what? There's zombies here. And also one thing to note is that Frank has a more shocked face during the section where the zombies are trying to get into the entrance. Whereas in the original, he was not shocked. He had a stone face. He's like, well, I cover wars, you know, so this doesn't affect me. But I'm glad they added in that more human element and aspect to the character.
What? Did you just say zombies?
He doesn't sound bad right there. He sounds fine. He sounds completely fine for the most part. I'm just hoping it's not a thing of, well, it's certain places where this actor sounds good and then it's other places where he sounds relatively bad. That's not the hope that I have going into this new rendition. I hope it's not like the Silent Hill 2 of the world, where they did like the Silent Hill 2 remaster for the HD collection and it was god awful. Troy Baker just did not fit James Sunderland, and I'm hoping it's not the same for this, but it's like Dead Rising. I just hope that the voice acting is great.
Take a look out there. Those things.
See the shock face, that's also cool. So let's get into the other details, and I think we can end the video from here. A lot of good information to say, not really a ton of negatives whatsoever. Again, Survivor AI being improved is probably the best thing to come from this. Let's see, what else are we missing? Just the comparison of the zombie's face here and then the OG. The details are amazing. Let's see, what else are we missing? I think we're missing one more thing. Oh, we have to go over the deluxe edition and the price. So the price of this game, I think, is going to be, let's go and check. Standard edition from the Microsoft Store says what to us? Come on, Xbox. Do your thing, do your stuff as we kill these goddamn zombies. I think this game is $50. Right? Yes, I am correct as usual. Once again, this is $50 for the standard edition, and I believe it is $60 for digital deluxe. And it's, as a price point, it's good. It's really good. It's not like people are like, oh, I hate $70. It's not 70, but it's like right there where it needs to belong. Right, it's not too high, but it's just right at that sweet spot for pricing with this one, with the Deluxe Remaster. Now, digital deluxe, you get a lot more goodies. There's one thing I'm wondering, but you know, I don't mind these. You could play as alternative characters and have their outfits, at least not alternative characters, I would say skins, right? You can play as characters with their skins from the Capcom universe, so you have people like Chris Redfield, Leon Kennedy, Ashley Graham. You have the Licker, Nemesis, a lot of Resident Evil skins for this, some Street Fighter ones, Mega Man, obviously, of course, Tron Bonne, the War Photographer, which seems to be something new and different, a clown outfit. You got Kim Masters, a creepy bunny. You got something called Blood Dia from Cyberbots, Full Metal Madness, which I played that game once and I thought it was fun for a nice mech fighter. Sodom. You have some Darkstalkers characters. You have a lot to go through with these skins, and you also have their theme songs as well with the additional outfits. Now, one of the things that I'm wondering is this going to be similar to Capcom Heroes, where if you don a certain outfit, you get abilities? I think that would be a nice, graceful way to implement that, where you have gameplay effects depending on what character you play as, but it might be a pipe dream. I think mostly these are going to be just inspired skins, and you're going to run around and you're going to see them, and you have the music, and that's it. They say the costumes can be changed at the closet in the security room in the game, but they don't really say anything about the gameplay of these, so I don't think it's going to be similar to Capcom Heroes, but that is a nice little touch regardless. And if you want the music, that's going to be a nice little bonus. Overall though, this news is great for Dead Rising. It seems that they really care. It's not just a lazy sort of remaster remake, but there is still a lot to be determined, how these new mechanics and how these new things overall complement the gameplay of the original Dead Rising, and what more could they add that they're not telling us as well as everything else? Like my friend Jaw Muncher said, you know, I thought this would be like 60 or 70 bucks, but to see it at this is nice to see. Really, it's a good thing, and I think it's a lot more good than cons. There's a few cons here, but overall I'm really enjoying this.
Zombies.
I just want TJ Rotolo back. If you make Dead Rising fucking 5, dude, you gotta bring this dude back. Holy shit. They changed a few faces as well, but let's get into that, because I don't think we covered the characters. So as I said, Frank looks like Frank West. We see Isabella, you know. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. People hate it, but I don't mind it. They fucked up this man's hairline, though. I'm gonna say that. Like, what the fuck? They fucked your hairline up like tomatoes. What did they do there? Like, okay, but I guess they made it similar to the other sort of renditions of Frank West, so they had to fuck the hairline up proper. But I can't believe I'm talking about hairlines in this video. Here's Isabella. Looks great. Looks fine.
Quick, move! Get over here!
Brad looks a little bit older though, in my opinion. He looks like Vin Rames. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what the fuck? He looks like Vin Rames for a second. I say that right? Vin Rames? It's like, yeah. I don't know why I always call him Vin Rames. It's just something that sort of corroborates in my brain, and I just get that wrong for some reason. But you got Madonna, a stupid ass dog that is the one that basically causes, well, she's like just part of the incident where the old ass lady tries to open the door and then the zombies like flood in. It's really a stupid scene. I hate that scene so much. I'm like, hopefully they eat the dog and the old lady. I think they do. Oh, Willamette looks so beautiful. Also, they said the time of day will also change the environment or whatever that means, I guess. Like, mostly from what I saw, it seems like a certain rise that will be cut on at certain times, and then the lights will go out. And then there's also the red zombies. Oh, well, not the red zombies, but the zombies with like red eyes and shit that'll show up, and I believe they're a little bit more stronger and a little bit more feral. But oh, the somersault kick is back too. Yeah, everything is mostly intact. There's Joe. Looks like the original counterpart still. Steven is, what the fuck? It's like that scene in Bad Boys Ride or Die. I'm probably gonna spoil this, so 3, 2, 1, where it's like, oh, look at his tongue. It's like, Mike, go eat that pussy. No, it's like, oh, I'm kidding. Here's the clown. Adam the clown. Larry Chang. Okay, this is the guy I think they changed the most, because here's new Larry, and he has a hat on now and some glasses, so he looks like Senator Armstrong except Asian. And let's get old Larry. Let's see if we can find him. Hold on, I'll pause it real quick. There we go. I'm sorry for being so disorganized and disheveled. My apologies. But here's the original Larry. See, he's having the time of his life. Let me see if I can zoom in real quick. I have no idea. I'm semi-drunk right now, so I apologize. But yeah, you have this guy, a marvelous beacon of authority with a lot of teeth missing, and then you have the new Larry, which I don't know. I guess they're trying to avoid stereotyping this time around. That they thought maybe that was a little bit outdated, and I guess that's one of the reasons why they changed his look. He still looks weird though. He's like a weird, creepy ass old man. I guess that's what they're going for with this, where he's like, you know, he's more uniform to the cause. That's the best way I can put it. Now let's get another look of Isabella. Honestly, they did really fine with Isabella and Jesse. Looks very, very similar to the original counterpart. It's absolutely fine. I have no problem with this whatsoever. I also have no problem with the idea of Capcom updating models, like how Leon looks, Ashley, all the other characters in the RE remakes as well. I thought they did like a very spectacular job with that stuff presented. And there's one more thing I think I need to talk about, and that is, let's go to the website one more time. So you do get certain things if you decide to pre-order the game. You get bonus costumes. This is Chuck Green from Dead Rising 2, and you get a theme from Dead Rising 2. That's fucking awesome. I like that. But here's a random mascot bee for Willamette, so you get a nice creepy costume with his tongue hanging out. If you're into that fucking shit, like being a cutscene, like like if you're into strange ass looking costumes and being played for laughs and having that difference there, then you can do that. And then they have the original Frank West in the RE engine. These motherfuckers at Capcom, these motherfuckers, right, they knew. They were like, oh, all these people are complaining about how new Frank looks. Well, you have the old one right here. They did that shit on purpose. You know they did that on purpose, right? They were like, yeah, we have the old look right here, so if you want it so badly, you gotta pre-order the game and get it right there. Now, as a practice, I don't know how I feel about that. I might be on the side of the people. I don't know how I feel about harboring like classic costumes under pre-order bonus, and you know, that idea could crop up where you miss out on the costume forever, and I don't like that idea. I don't like that. If you don't pre-order the game in time, you're not gonna get certain incentives. But at the same time, while I see that criticism, I will also raise you and say Capcom is usually very generous with how they handle post-game unlock pre-order bonuses. They will sell them at bundles. They did this with the pre-order guns for Resident Evil, and also some of the pre-order costumes as well. So I don't think that it's gonna be a sort of timed exclusive that's locked away forever. I believe they're gonna resell these probably at like maybe a few dollars at best, and then you'll have your hands on them no problem. So I will be definitely picking up this game. So there you have your old Frank West right there. The boy is there. At least it's in the game. That's one thing I will say. So if you're someone who's like, well, these designs look shit, blah blah blah, at least it's in the game to some degree, some extent, and that's really it. A lot of positive Dead Rising information. The Dead Rising franchise reviving itself from the ashes. The only thing I hope is that they keep up this consistency. They know that Dead Rising is more or less, it's like, I heard it was like the 6th best-selling franchise for Capcom, so there is a love and desire there, while also adhering to the other people who are screaming Dino Crisis like every goddamn day of the week because they want them dead dinosaurs and they want Regina's cheeks plastered on screen. All right. So I am signing out for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me breaking down the Dead Rising news and information. So far the gameplay looks fantastic, the graphics look fantastic. It's a couple of little nitpicks here or there, but ultimately I think this is going to be something interesting to revisit yet again as we go back to Willamette in September. All right, I know the video is over at this point technically, but I wanted to illustrate two things that, well, one of them is interesting, the other one is a meme, but there's two things that came up into mind, and the first one is the important one. You now have the ability to fast forward time in the Dead Rising Remaster Deluxe Super Papadopoulos Edition, whatever the fuck they call it. You now can fast forward time, meaning that there are some cases or some situations where you're like waiting for the helicopter. You can just fast forward that shit, no problem. Get to a certain point and then do a mission or get in the helicopter, and it mitigates time. That's so great for the quality of life improvements. Once again, I'm just praising this decision. It's something that I've seen before in Metal Gear Solid 5, where you could take the cigar and you could advance time and you could get to a certain place or a certain location, or you can wait until like certain places are accessible at night and sneak around. It's awesome. I guess the caveat to fast forwarding time as well is certain missions are going to speed up and some missions are going to get possibly locked out, or some survivors will get possibly locked out for doing so, or maybe you can speed up right near to that tipping point where it's almost time to pick them up, go pick them up and get them, or initiate them or activate things, it'll make the player think about what are they gonna do before this actually happens. Like, am I gonna risk running out of time over here to a certain plaza where there are survivors like present, or am I going to fast forward time to get to a certain particular point in the game and advance it and forget about said survivors or certain people around the area at the time? Also, given that everything's going to be fully voiced, I'm assuming they're going to give Otis a voice as well. He has to get one at this point, right? Because all the text scrolling and everything and the constant walkie-talkie chatter, that comes from Otis giving you certain missions. So maybe Otis will have a voice this time around, or maybe they'll keep him mute. I have no idea, but considering they mentioned that everything's going to be voiced out, that probably also means the transceiver conversations as well. It is really a goddamn shame though that he died in Dead Rising 4. RIP Otis. It's really awesome they thought about all this ahead of time with these features. And the last thing I think I want to laugh at is just, y'all motherfuckers are dirty comparing Brad to like Steve Harvey now. Come on. Y'all some dirty motherfuckers, man. This shit's so funny. Oh my god. Well, we got Brad Harvey over here in the building once again with his smug face, with his smug bald ass. Alright, I am off this time, for real. That's all the features and the breakdown that was discovered, talked about, everything within the details, the devil in the details with Dead Rising Remaster Deluxe. I will see you guys for real next time. Once again, tell me what you think of the features below and everything they're putting into this game. I think it's sounding really good. I listened to Podcast Now and he talked about this and he said, I just want this to be the perfect version of Dead Rising 1 to play on modern consoles, and it seems like they are living up to that dream. Tell me what you think in the comments. I will see you guys next time. Later.